Hi, this is going to be an update video for the missing person Daniel Robinson. Um, as we know, Daniel Robinson went missing June 23rd, 2021 in Buckeye, Arizona at 9 a.m. Daniel is 24 years old, 5'8", 150 pounds. He has brown eyes, black hair, and he was born without a right hand. Anyone with information is asked to please contact Buckeye Police, and that number is 623-349-6400. There has been a GoFundMe set up by Daniel's family to help with the costs and the searching and all of that. There is also a $10,000 reward for anyone with information leading to the whereabouts of Daniel Robinson. So, what this video is going to do is just to get, the story out there. We got to keep it alive. We got to keep talking about it. And to get the image out there, I like to do that when I do these videos. And I also want to go over what we now know and some updated information. So, as we know, Daniel went missing from Buckeye, Arizona, June 23rd, 2021, around 9 a.m. A coworker says that he was acting funny at the job site and that he left the job site around 9 a.m. The police searched a 70-mile area with no success. And then June 24th, um, Daniel's father, noticed that the Instagram photos were all deleted. They had all been erased from his account. So now they don't know why, and also the dad had went out there and tried to take pictures of the tire tracks and stuff, and then there was rainstorms, so they don't have any of these photos or any of that information with the tire tracks. Now, there was a story going around with coworkers and family members who say that Daniel was interested in a woman that he didn't really know, that he had recently met through an Instacart delivery. I guess he did that on the side and he met a girl through that, and he went too fast for her and got a little too obsessive, and she asked him to stop contacting her, and he did stop contacting her. Um, then again, there's, some people saying, well, I didn't know about this girl, so there's that. Um, then let's see, July 19th is when they find Daniel's Jeep, and the Jeep was found by a rancher. It was on his property. Now, it was rolled numerous times, as you can see in the picture, and there was a lot of damage to it, but his phone, his keys, his wallet were all left behind. Now, please don't suspect foul play. The dad and the private investigator, however, said that the accident looked staged and that the ignition had been turned over at least 46 times, that there was 11 miles added onto the car, so obviously the car was driven, and they really feel like the accident was staged. Now, the private investigator also found some of his clothing, Daniel's clothing, a sock about 4 miles away from the car crash. So the rancher finds the truck, and the investigator finds pieces of clothing and doesn't think that the, accident was an accident. He feels like it was staged. Yet the cops have, searched 70 miles. They've come up with nothing, and they don't suspect any foul play. So, okay. In the meantime, July 31st, there's a human skull found, and it's confirmed not to be Daniel. So, police say it's the remains of another person. Now, and they say there's no other remains. They haven't found any more human remains besides that. Now, Daniel's dad says, and the investigator says, that there's about 5 to 6 more human remains that have been found in the search area. So, this is what we know, and the story keeps getting more and more, twisted, and information, and, things are coming out. And as I said, if you have any information, please call Buckeye Police Department. If you want to donate to the family so that they can keep this search alive and keep, a private investigator and whatever else they need to do. I know the dad is there and doesn't actually live there in Arizona. I'm sure the money that is donated is going to go to helping him stay there in Arizona, and the $10,000 reward, I'm sure that's part of the GoFundMe, donations will help. And let's just try to keep the story alive and put pressure on Buckeye PD and, find out what happened to Daniel and find him and find out, what is really going on. Um, I just find it very strange that, you know, somehow all these photos on the Instagram are now gone. Okay, let's go back to that in the story. So this kid goes missing, and so does all his Instagram photos. Yeah, I'm sure. And I bet you that's because someone had, you know, erased these photos, because the last photos that he took, might show where his location is. Now, let's talk also about this girl that he had met and maybe, was a little bit too much for her too soon. As I had said in my last video, Daniel had a brilliant mind. He was very smart. He was very, just kind of keep to himself in a lot of ways, and maybe a little socially awkward when you're that intelligent. And even when you're not, I'm socially awkward sometimes, whatever. Point is, when the young lady asked him to stop calling her, he did. Does not mean that the situation didn't have him feeling some kind of way. That's okay. I feel like that's normal. But the fact that he left her alone after she asked him to, well, that kind of changes things. And I don't think that that has much to do with his disappearance. Maybe it has something to do with his emotional state, to where why he would leave the job site, walk off, maybe he's still in his feelings, whatever, wasn't thinking. But the fact that, you know, his wallet, his phone, his keys, everything left behind, and he's nowhere to be found. If he was thrown from the vehicle, wouldn't they have found him by now? And when they found these other remains, okay, great, it wasn't Daniel. Who the fuck is it? And if there's 5 or 6 other human remains that have been found in this area since they've been searching for Daniel, who the fuck are those people? You know what I mean? And here we go, back to my whole, you know, that road and the human trafficking stuff, and all of a sudden we're finding bodies all out in this desert. Oh my god. Just like they said now over there where they found Gabby in Wyoming, that there's probably about 700 other, bodies out there. Are you kidding me? Who are these people? Nobody's asking. I'm glad that Buckeye PD found the remains, and the skull wasn't Daniel's, but can you tell us who the fuck it was? Like, what is going on here? This goes back to my theory that people are involved. That people in these border towns, the cops, the sheriffs, the, citizens, like I said, are involved. Look at this. Look at what's going on. And we can't let these stories die. Now, let me also make clear, not all police are bad, and not everyone, is out for their own and part of this craziness that we're dealing with and that we're seeing in our society right now. I will continue to say that. I know a lot of decent police officers and some great detectives that cross their I's and dot their T's, or, whatever, and, do things correctly and really want to help people and everything. But I'll continue to say they're overworked, they're underpaid, a lot of them are desensitized, and what's really happening here is they're not finding anything. As a matter of fact, they don't even suspect foul play. I mean, whatever. This guy's grown. He could have walked off. They have every reason in the world, yet they're finding human remains. They're finding vehicles freaking rolled over. Nope, 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 nothing to see here. No foul play. Oh my gosh. We can't stop talking about these stories, and we can't let these people and their images just go forgotten. And I'm so glad that more people are talking about it. But, I don't understand over and over again why there's so many human remains out in these areas and they're not getting identified and we don't know who they are. And nothing to see here, even though there's a lot of questions that should be asked and continue to be asked about these situations and these cases and these people that are missing. And I hope and pray that we continue to search and not let this story die until we find Daniel, and that we also start saying something and put some pressure on these people to identify these other people that are just dead out in the desert somewhere. Come on now. This is crazy. So that's the update. That's the information that we know, mixed in with some of my crazy theories. As I continue to say over and over again, I'm never going to be 100% right. No psychic is. They tell you that they are. They are lying to you. That's not how this works. So, it's going to take a while. It's going to be a lot of, time, I think, before this really comes out and plays out and all of it makes any kind of sense. But I'll keep putting the image out there. I'll keep saying what I need to say. And I'll hopefully, not let these stories die, because these people all have, people and family and people that care about them. And we should know what happened. And these other human remains that they're finding out in this area, we should know who they are too. And, maybe it brings other families some closure. And we should also find out why the hell people are just going missing out in this area and why you're finding several human remains out in this area. Come on now. So what do we have here? Well, we're hanging out in hangman mode. We are waiting, we are meditating, we are looking at things differently. Lots of communication is coming in. Lots of communication. Good. Good news is on the way with that Eight of Wands. Here in the future, the Fool, a new beginning. We are starting all over again. As a matter of fact, I believe that was in the last reading, wasn't it? Information coming in, wish fulfillments. Good. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm really happy to see that. And I'll just keep praying for Daniel and his family and everybody else too out there that is still missing, and those that are still waiting to hear what happened to their loved ones. There are things we just cannot see yet, but we got to keep going here with the moon, right? And then there is, again, that wish fulfillment, that Nine of Cups. So we're going to hold on. We're going to keep praying. We're going to keep hoping. And I just want to make it clear to everyone that, I myself have dealt with this not only because of my psychic ability. Let's take that out of there. let's talk about my own personal experience quickly. When I was young, I was 16, saving up for a car, still walking to school in the mornings, getting rides from friends, whatever. And, we lived in a suburb in Colorado, and it was very nice, safe suburb. I'd walk to school a certain path all the time. I'd walk through this neighborhood, and there was always people out in the morning. And one morning there was no one out, and I was walking down the street, and I had noticed how quiet it was and how no one was out that morning. Yet this blue Bronco drove by me, and I noticed the guy looked kind of strange. And then he went around the block and he came back again. And he pulled up as I was walking down the sidewalk. This guy pulls up on the curb, jumps out of the Bronco, grabs me, and I freak out. And my instinct was just to fight. And I was like a cat. I could not get in that car, and he's trying to push me in that car. And I just fought and fought and fought and kicked and scratched and bited, and it was the 90s, and back then when they had the clogs and the candies, and I had these big clog shoes on, and I just remember, you know somehow in the midst of all the fight, getting my shoe off and hitting the guy in the head a million times with this shoe, and he was still pushing me into this Bronco. It must have been just a few seconds, which felt like a lifetime, and I got away, and he let me go, and I ran, and I just ran and ran down the street barefoot. And my school was about 4 blocks away. I turned the corner, and my friends standing in our little spot seeing me running, and the look on my face just must have terrified them. And they knew something was wrong, and I had told them, this guy just tried to kidnap me up the street. Like, oh my God, this is freaking crazy, right? So anyway, go to the principal's office, you tell the principal, whatever. My mom's in school at the time. My dad's working 14-hour days to put her through school. So to get a hold of my parents was a nightmare. By the time they did, my parents were like, is she okay? They called the cops. The school did the police report, whatever, with the cops, yada yada. The security guard will, watch out. And we're talking 90s, early 90s, and the world was a different place then. And everyone was just like, well, April's all right, and you're a little traumatized. You'll get over it. Watch out, Okay, whatever. Then, later in life, it always stuck with me. It always bothered me. And I just always knew that, like, these things actually exist. And I myself was very, very lucky. All I could think of was surviving. And luckily, I got away. But it made it very aware to me that in one of the safest places that I had walked this path all the time, and then boom, just instantly, almost got straight snatched. And it, has always stood with me. So then later in life, I grow up, I work in a bar, and, you know, people drink all the time. One of the girls I work with, this couple buys her a drink. They're very interested in her, this and that, whatever. She realizes they put something in her drink. And luckily for her, she realized that, went to my boss, told her, I'm not feeling well, this and that. My boss then started questioning the couple, who acted very suspicious and left. Okay. We call the cops come, get a report, we make sure the girl gets home safe, because obviously she's been roofied. She had tons of drinks or anything. This was like her second or third drink that night. All of a sudden, she knows herself, and she knew she had been roofied. So she gets home safe. We let them know there's somebody in here. There was a couple in here trying to take people home, spiking their drinks, whatever, yada yada. Couple days later, guess who shows up at the bar? FBI agents, wanting to know exactly what this couple looked like, who roofied this girl that worked there, because there's a human trafficking ring around here. And as I told y'all, I live in one of these border states. The FBI agent straight came into the bar that I worked at and it wanted specific detail and description of these people because there's a human trafficking ring around here and they roofie girls and they take girls and they're getting $10,000 to $20,000 a girl, and so make sure your girls know not to take drinks and from people they don't know and even people that they do know, and if any suspicious activity happens, please let us know. After that, my boss, she's awesome. We even put posters up. She put posters up. Anyone caught in some shit, some human trafficking, blah, 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 you feel unsafe, here's domestic violence, here's the human trafficking line, blah, blah, blah. So, my point is take the psychic ability out of it. The medium, being able to communicate with people on the other side, the tarot cards, the astrology, take all of that out of it. I myself have had personal experiences where I know for a fact that these things do exist. So let's not let these people and their stories and their families just continue to not know what happened. Let's keep these stories alive. And if you see something out there, guys, say something. And that's for kids and women and children and even men. Because all people go missing and all people deserve to have their story told and to be found and to be brought home with their families. And these people that are doing this need to be stopped and need to be brought to justice. So, let's keep doing what we need to do and go ahead and go to his GoFundMe and donate and call Buckeye Please if you have any information at 623-349-6400. Let's bring Daniel Robinson home and let's keep being vigilant and aware and being good to each other, guys, because you just never know. So thanks so much for watching. As always, I appreciate it, and we will keep following this case and many others. Thank you so much. Bye.